Today I wanted to talk with you about the art of detachment. It's something that's becoming more and more prevalent in society, something that there's more conversations being had about, and I know a lot of you are interested in this because it's something that also holds us back. So many of us are attached to things needing to look and be a certain way. We're attached to particular outcomes, or else we can't cope, we can't operate, we don't know how to make sense of things. The simple line I'm going to share with you that's helped me so much that I come up with many years ago for me, when it comes to understanding how to detach from things and the power in it, is learning to care without care. What do I mean by that? When it comes to you doing something that you're clearly trying to achieve or clearly trying to attain, or something that you want, it might be achieving success at your job. It might be achieving the relationship you want. It might be having a certain food for dinner. It might be something more bigger than the everyday stuff, right? When you're doing this, you need to make sense of the fact that if you are so attached to something, it's only dangerous. Because think about it energetically. If you're attached to this outcome, the best you can do is achieve it. There's no real joy in that. There's just relief. There's stress, there's worry, there's panic. And that's if you do achieve it. What if you don't achieve it? What's that feel like? Because most of us live there. It's all about taking your step and then allowing what I refer to as the universe, or you might call it something else, to take its step. And what I mean by that is when you take your step because you're interested in achieving something or making something happen, that's all you can do. But then you need to let go of the outcome. You want to make $10 million a year? Cool. I know a lot of people work themselves into the ground to make $10 million a year. It's fine. Or some people don't work themselves in the ground, they make it. My point is, if you are attached to that outcome, what if you made $9.9 million a year, but you're attached to 10? That's a fail. Feel like shit. I'm sure a lot of people could do something with 9.9 million. So you see where I'm going. I know it's an exaggerated example, but you can't be attached to things. It doesn't work. The other thing too, when you're attached to wanting more, what you're really attached to is lacking more. Because the moment you say that you want something, what you're also saying is that you don't have it. That's how it works. In the universe, the world, the way this whole paradigm we live in exists and operates, it doesn't give you more of what you want. It gives you more of what you are. That's how it works. You'll notice that. So what happens is we indirectly get in the way and block ourselves because we're attached to having this, but the truth is we don't have it yet. And then it's not just that. What about when you do attain a relationship or you get one? And then we try to make people a certain version to suit our world. It never works. That attachment stuff is bad. Doesn't serve anybody. Attachment is one of the Achilles heels and kryptonites of humans. We're only attached to something because we lack something. If you lack nothing, you're attached to nothing. All right? The best visual representation I can give you of how you should try to be in your life to focus on the art of detachment, caring without care, going with the flow, is a palm tree. Now, think about where palm trees live. They live in the harshest conditions on the planet for a tree. They live in the tropics, they deal with all the hurricanes, they live with really hot weather, crazy storms. But you'll notice palm trees don't break. They don't break. Where, even though it's a beautiful tree behind me here, and all different trees like this, when there's a lot of wind or a lot of resistance, storms, crazy weather, a lot of these trees break. And it isn't because they're not as strong as the palm tree, it's because they're not as flexible. They don't bend with the flow. Or in other words, they're attached to being stuck in a particular immovable type of position, a sturdy position. And that's fantastic in many ways to hold your ground. But what happens when you're met with a greater resistance? Or what happens when your attachment that you need to happen doesn't? How do you cope? How's a tree cope? Tree snaps, it breaks, it loses. Same way you would or I would if we're attached to an outcome that doesn't eventuate. Palm trees win. They go with the flow. They'll bend. They don't try to resist what's coming at it. They bend. They're not attached to how it works. They're not attached to what it needs to look like. One day they're dealing with crazy sun, next day they're with a tropical storm, hurricanes, cyclones, they do it all. They stand everything. Why? Because underneath the ground, what you don't see about a palm tree or any other tree for that fact, I love trees, won't get stuck on them. There's a lot of wisdom in a tree. But for the palm tree specifically, the roots under the ground are going everywhere. They have balance within themselves to understand why it is they're being flexible. It's not just some cute metaphor. They have a whole root network underground that allows them to bend like that, or else they'd fall out. Well, what's your root network doing? Have you worked on yourself enough to make sense of what I'm talking about? Have you worked on yourself enough to go, I'm going to take my step and allow the world or the universe or whatever you want to call it to take its step? Or are you attached to it needing to look and be a certain way? Most humans, myself included, once upon a time anyway, I'm not so much like it anymore, but once upon a time I was very attached to things needing to look and be a certain way in order for me to function, in order for me to cope. And most of the time what we're attached to is things outside of ourselves. We're attached to things that aren't us. Or we become attached to certain things that we want us to become. None of this is healthy and it doesn't work. And if you don't believe me, just have a look at your own life. And if you're going to be really honest about it, just go, when I was attached to this, like get a pen and paper, go old school. Get a pen and paper, write down, when I was attached to this and it didn't happen, how'd I cope? When I was attached to this and I did attain it, how did it feel? Did it feel awesome? Cool, it felt awesome. What, for 10 seconds? And then you're on to the next thing you were trying to get? It's bottomless pit, doesn't work. All right? So the art of detachment is key. Don't be attached to the way the outcome needs to work. There's also a much grander game here too. Our mind thinks it knows the best way forward all the time. It doesn't. The mind doesn't. The mind's job is to pretty much direct the energy that we have in a direction we want to go in. But it doesn't know the best ways of how to attain things. Think about some of the most magical things you've got in your life, whether it be your kids, whether it be your partner, whether it be your job, whether it be what you do with your friends, how you meet your friends. Think about all this stuff. How much of it did you actually plan, or how much of it was just sort of put into your life that you then took action upon because it was in front of you? Most of, if not all of the amazing things that happens to us as humans is put in front of us. You can call it coincidence if you like. That word doesn't work for me. I'm a big believer in destinies, paths, things are supposed to happen the way they do. All right? This stuff comes to you. So the mind can't plan this shit. So think about when the mind's planning stuff, what it's attached to, all it's doing is getting in the way of the magic that's trying to come to you. Get out of the way. I'm not saying don't have goals. I'm not saying don't try to attain things. I'm not saying don't try to be better. Perfect example, guys. I'm sitting here talking to you. A goal is to build a channel so that I can have a lot of reach, a bigger audience, and help more people like you watching this video. So rather than just you watching it, hopefully one day there's millions more. That's what I'm trying to do. That's a goal. But I'm not attached to how it looks. I'm not attached to whether it happens today, years down the track, or never happens. I'm not attached to that. Even though I'm taking the step forward to try and attain that, I am not attached to how that happens. I'm going to continue to rock up and be consistent and take my step. That's what I'm asking or encouraging you to do in your life. Because that is when things will happen quicker, if it's supposed to happen. And if not, we can get the feedback and move forward. We can be the palm tree. All right, so hope it helps. If you want me to dive deeper on this, or there's an area you'd like me to, magnify in on even more, let me know. I'm more than happy to talk about this stuff a lot because it's a really important one. I try to get out of the way of yourself and allow the magic of our existence to help you on your journey. Attachment's not good. So continue to work with the art of detachment, continue to explore yourself, and really, just get out of your own way, if that makes sense. All right? Hope it helps.